How are we doing? Nick, NK Sports Podiatry here. So here is a long-term test review of my own personal Salomon Predicts. Now, I am very fortunate to be part of the Salomon think tank, so I was actually even more fortunate to get these before they were released. I've had these about 6 months now. I've been running on average anything from 15 to about 25, 30 kilometers a week since then, and these have quickly become my favourite go-to shoe for me. Bit of history: before running in these, I was running in the set of Adidas Boost with an 8mm heel raise inside the shoe. So I think the shoe's around 10 to 12 mil plus another 8mm. So you're talking around about 18 to 20 mil drop effectively in the shoe. Whereas these are about an 8mm drop. And without using that setup in my Boost, I used to get calf issues no matter how strong I used to make my calves on running. However, put these on, run around Central Park, 10k, no pain whatsoever, literally no heel raise or anything in the shoe. So originally I thought, okay, look, this is just the hype of running around Central Park, you know, a big tick in the box of those life things you want to do. However, 6 months on, just don't get any issues, and it's fabulous. I absolutely love it. So we decided to actually have a look at, okay, why is that? We are luckily and fortunate enough to have the Run3D 3D gait analysis system in clinic, and I hooked up with one of my mentors and colleague, Mr. Trevor Pry, who's a consultant podiatric surgeon based up in London, and he's got some injury pressure analysis stuff as well. So we used to have a look at the loading patterns as well and compare the shoe to shoes to find out what is actually going on, and can we explain why I wasn't getting my calf issues. And do you know what? I think we have come up with an explanation as to why. So before we jump into that, a bit about the shoe. Now, the fantastic thing about the Predicts is that it is a massively decoupled shoe. So what we mean by that, it's an extremely flexible shoe. And it's designed to be like that. Because underneath, we can sort of see there's these sort of 10 little pod areas, which aim to mimic the big joints within the foot. And each one of these pods can effectively work independently of one another. So when you go to load the shoe, part of the shoe will compress, part of it will not. So, and the beauty of that is really that how this shoe reacts to me will be different from you and different from other person. But then the biggest beauty is how my left foot functions is different to the right. Because normally running shoes are made the same exactly on left and right. And these are. But because how the shoe is designed, your left shoe can function different from your right shoe. And we started to see some of the results now on the 3D gait analysis. So if we talk about it from a hip perspective, we used to see, and a knee perspective, I used to see a bit of asymmetry in motion between my left side and my right side, but actually running in these, in the Predicts, we can see that symmetry of motion sort of improves, as it were, but that's another debate as regards to symmetry and can we relate that to pain, so is it causation or correlation, but that's a whole nother discussion. So again, these aren't a heavy shoe, 260 grams, it's not bad. One thing I really like is the upper of the shoe is 2 parts and the back part is super soft. So if you got anyone that has a Haglunds or a bit of a pump bump on the back of the Achilles and shoes nearly rub, I doubt these will. The back bit is actually made in a bra factory, bit of useless information. So what did we see from a kinematic viewpoint? So how my body moved, my lower limb moved during running. So a couple of things. I got a bit more knee flexion, so my knee was bending more and my knee wasn't internally rotating in as much. And actually when we looked at the shoe didn't actually roll in as much at all. So hang on a minute, this is a massively decoupled shoe. However, on my own testing, I have found that this could possibly offer more support than a traditional supportive type shoe, which is really exciting. And also it improved overall what we call our sagittal plane function, so my ability to push forward. And we just found that by doing that, we think it then offloaded my calf muscle, because when we looked at the injury pressure analysis, I wasn't lifting my heel up as early, so I wasn't putting as much strain and load through my gastrocnemius and soleus during the gait cycle, and we think that could be why I don't get any issues. So yeah, a really, really fantastic shoe. Luckily got 2 pairs, so I use them for running, I use them for work, day-to-day walking, just find them super, super comfortable. I find the fit is quite nice and wide for a running shoe, and it is quite true to size. So patients so far we've had running in these are, if you can get hold of them, they're pretty hard to get hold of now, are patients with anterior knee pain on running, and some patients with calf pain. Now, when we talk about improving that sagittal plane function and improving overall function throughout the lower limb, which these did compared to my Adidas Boost, the big issue we can't work out yet is where that load has gone. So in our previous video, when we talked about the Hoka Carbon X, we could see the load was taken from around the leg and ankle region and put up around the hip region. However, with the Predix, I can't find where it's going. And to chatting the guys at Solom about that, and from what they found as well, we just don't know where that load is going, because from a running viewpoint, everything does seem to improve when you're in these shoes. So we're still going to keep on finding out and hunting, okay, where does this go? But yeah, we just don't know. So overall, I think it's a great shoe. I absolutely personally love it. But the big caveat, as we always say, is that everyone reacts differently to footwear. So how these function for me may be different from how they function for you. A word of warning is, because it's a massively decoupled shoe, the last thing really you want to do with these is stick any sort of orthoses in them, because they're not really designed for that whatsoever. In my opinion, it just defeats the object of the shoe. So if you were looking for a shoe that you think it's got a different feel, it's actually got quite a firm ride on using. They do not feel unstable at all. They actually feel really stable to run on. So I think that if you wanted to try something new out there, it's definitely worthwhile, because it's just taking this sort of innovating footwear to the next level, and we're luckily moving away from that traditional sort of support, structured, cushioning, neutral shoe, because hey, that's old and outdated, and that's been old and outdated for donkey's years, and we're finally catching up, and we're finally moving along. And I just think footwear innovation over the next 5 to 10 years is going to go